They think, they don't think, oh, this protocol is made to make the world better. Let us therefore make the world better, because that is the purpose. That's the goal. No. They think, how can we improve the world on a way that is according to the protocol? How can we improve the world in a fashion that we are all acting according to the protocol? And that leads to a way of thinking. The result of this is a way of thinking in which the procedure becomes more important than the result, yes? So now, because they don't want to be utopian, they don't want to have an ideal, they simply want to hold on to the agreements that they made, because they want to act according to the protocol which they made. Therefore, the procedure becomes more important than the goal itself. Just think about it. Great minds. Well, what's a really great mind? A great mind is someone who can think in objectivity, in truth claims, and think outside of every protocol. But that's usually not the people who are promoted within the protocol. If you think about people who really achieved something in the world, like, for example, Buddha or Mohammed or Einstein or Descartes even, they all turn against existing protocols, and they all pretty much lived as a hermit a while. Yes, they pretty much turned against the ruling religions, against ruling scientific methods of thinking, and they did their own thing. But they were never great within the universities. They were never great within the ruling monarchies. No, they all came up with their own unique idea, and it was not taken serious until they were recognized much later. Yes? And in fact, most professors, most economists, most politicians, most party leaders, they are people who think exactly according to the ruling protocol. They are people who think exactly according to the laws and regulations that exist. And because they do so well by the existing laws, and because they do so well by the existing protocol, they get automatically promoted. So the protocol always leads to people in power who are made to think according to the protocol, and who live well effectively by living according to the protocol. They will get promoted. They will get the more influential positions. And because, like we said, they don't want to be utopian, they simply want to make the world a little better in the here and now, they really don't have a direction to go to. So instead, they try to derive the goals from the existing protocol. And this leads us running around in circles. It leads to a way of thinking in which the procedure is more important than the result. And that explains why the politics does not bring progress. Yes, politics do not make progress. They cannot inspire people. The politicians are not great speakers who can inflame their audience from inside, yes? They're not great orators who can inflame the souls of the listeners. No, they're more bureaucrats. Or colorless people. Some exceptions, perhaps. The result of it being the government being one big bureaucracy that cannot inspire people and that doesn't make any progress. And worst of all, they're not thinking about the good life. They're not thinking about the good. Because they are trained, there's only opinions about the good, and a politician must deal with these opinions and build a stable society around these opinions. So you have people who want to shop, okay, build a bigger mall. There we have progress. Ta-da. Small and simple. It's not about it if these opinions are correct, or justified, or even respectable. No. We have opinions, we treat opinions as given facts. Piece by piece, social engineers have to cope with these opinions, have to deal with these opinions, and build a stable society around it. And it's not about the content of this opinion. No. It's just an object that has to be dealt with. But new thinking and truth claims can break through all of this. If you think, is this true or is this not true? Then you can think in an objective way about a utopia. Yes, if you say for every statement, is this true? Which is not true what this person says. That can break through that protocol. Creates an objective way of thinking. A way of thinking that allows us to speak about what we should want next to what we want. Yes? an objective way of thinking and speak about what we should want instead of only talk about what it is that people want. And politicians today do not speak about what it is we should want. They do not think about what it is we should will. No. They only try to deal with the facts of people's opinions as they are. They only try to deal with, okay, this is what people want. How can I play the game so that I can get the people to do on my side? How can I play the politics so that I match what people want? They're thinking that way. They're not asking the question what it is that we should want. No, they only treat the opinions that people have as they have them as given fact. And therefore they, in doing this, accept relativism. In doing this, they accept relativism. All in all, this means that there is not a blind idea of progress that is ethically neutral and that it doesn't exist. Okay? This idea of some sort of blind idea of progress that does not do ethics and that does not talk politics but that simply works towards progress, that does not exist. For example, we can build bigger roads, better malls, but this is really what we should want. Yes? Another example. People thinking, okay, well, I'm not doing politics, I'm just doing my job. Well, they were building rockets and missiles and whatever for the Nazi regime. And this is what you get. This is the idea of political science that Leo Strauss was attacking with this argument. He's saying, okay, you have 1,000 people who have idea A of the good. You have 1,000 people who have idea B of the good. Now, the politician is not supposed to ask which of these ideas is true. Let's think critically. Is idea A good? Is it true? Or is idea B of the good true? No. The politician must simply deal with these opinions as given facts. So we must build a stable society where these groups can live together without problems. So it's aimed towards damage control. Yes? Do not ask philosophical questions about which of these is the best, or let's begin a philosophical discussion about what we should want, or let's begin a philosophical talk about the best course of action or the best way to live. No. People have opinions about these things, and ultimately, well, this is something that we can speak about, and so we must remain in silence. So we must deal with the opinions as given facts. Well, Karl Popper says mankind is fallible, and therefore we must be humble. He says it pretty much throughout his book. He says it a lot in his book. He keeps repeating that we are fallible, and that because we are fallible and flawed, we must be humble, and the capacity of our reason is limited. But he says there's reason to trust in reason, but we must accept that its capacity is limited, he says. He does not want to give faith. He does not want to give up faith in humanity. He is in fact confident of humanity, but he keeps stressing our fallibility. So he says we are fallible, we make mistakes, we cannot look so far into the future, so we must be humble, we must not have big ideals, but we must do small improvements, small conjectures and refutations. We must not cherish big dreams and try to implement these big dreams into the politics. No, we are fallible, and implementing big utopias into politics only leads to disaster. We must do small things from day to day, and more we cannot compromise. More we cannot comprehend. That's what he says. Yes? Okay. But I say, putting Leo Strauss and Karl Popper and Wittgenstein and everyone aside for now, I am saying the fact that mankind has been fallible thus far, from that fact, does not automatically follow that mankind will always be fallible. Yes? So even though we have been fallible thus far, from that it cannot be logically deduced, we cannot automatically conclude that we will always be fallible. So it can be a utopia, and it is a utopia, with utopia between, well, connotation marks, to make this fallibility as small as possible. So it should be our utopia to make this fallibility as small as possible. And we can do that by thinking in truth claims. By asking of every statement, is this true or is this not true? And by thinking that way, we can reduce fallibility, and that should be our goal. Okay, so talking about politics is pretty much talking about economy. And if we ask ourselves the question, what value does our current political system have for the future? Then it's all about economy. In the United States, you have a bit of talking about gay marriage and abortion and those kind of issues that are important there other than the economy in politics. And even the war is pretty much talking about the cost of the war in terms of economic cost. So in the end, all they seem to want is economic growth. People only think about how can I accumulate more wealth. At least in politics, they seem to do.